Hey guys, David here, and today some analysis and debate around the news that Apple is no longer going to include a charging plug or headphones with its iPhone 12 lineup or other new iPhones. We are going to analyse the key arguments on both sides of the debate from a business strategy, customer and environmental perspective. I've broken the key issues down into 10 overall arguments so we can cover everything systematically. You can see what I have to say, form your own opinion and let me know what you think. Plus, be sure to stick around until the end for my overall conclusions and whether I think this is a big win for the environment or a huge rip-off for consumers. Ready? Then let's go. Argument number 1. Reduced carbon output from logistics of shipping iPhones. Removing the charging plug and headphones means that each iPhone box can be slimmed down and reduced in size considerably. Therefore, to supply the same number of iPhones, you need far fewer trips on planes, trains, or whatever delivery vehicles are being used by the supply chain. Apple say the reduced packaging means up to 70% more iPhones can fit onto each pallet, leading to major savings of carbon emissions throughout logistics. Argument 2. A direct reduction in the use of finite resources. Removing the charger and headphones means you directly save all the plastic, the metals and the other materials that otherwise would have been used to make those components. Additionally, to the extent the box gets slimmer, all that portion that is no longer needed is a direct saving of all of the packaging materials too. Together, Apple say these logistics and materials benefits save around 2 million metric tons of carbon per year, equivalent to removing 450,000 cars from the roads. Arguments 1 and 2 are Apple's justification for their position, but what about some of the counter-arguments? Argument 3. You are removing something the consumer rightly expects to receive. It's reasonable for people to think that they can charge their device as soon as they buy it, whatever their circumstances are. This change means that that is no longer certain to be the case. Beyond the practical, this removal of a previously expected feature is a point of principle for some people, which they will dislike regardless of anything else. Argument number 4. This encourages people to use their existing options, whether that is for charging or listening to music. The emphasis is now on people to use what they already have, rather than each time they upgrade their phone, accumulating more and more chargers and headphones that never get taken out of the box, get given away, or worse, get thrown away. Apple state that there are around 700 million Lightning headphones already out with consumers, along with around 2 billion charging plugs. So it does seem reasonable that for a lot of people who might buy the new iPhone, there's a very good chance they will own one or both of those items already. Argument 5, and we are back to challenging the Apple perspective. This is a cash grab by Apple, and it is poor compared to their Android competitors. Apple is giving people less in the box, while iPhone prices remain pretty much the same as they have been in previous years. How can the world's most valuable company justify giving consumers a worse deal for such a tiny financial benefit to itself and in the most troubling economic climate of recent years? However, before we go too far down this line, it's worth noting that the actual savings to Apple, the cost price of the charger and headphones, are together likely to be very low. I would speculate well below $10, given the scale of production, how old the technology is, and the typical margins that they get, as well as the price that these items sell for. Plus, you have to consider the fact that all of the iPhone 12 lineup has the fastest variant of 5G millimeter wave, and the prices, like I said before, are broadly the same as prior year models. Compare that with the Android side, where most of the time a 5G version of a phone adds anything up to $200 onto the price of the prior year equivalent model. So while I understand how people can make the money grabbing argument, I do think when you think about those two factors especially, it's harder to really find believable. The related argument that iPhone offers less for your money or less features than Android competitors could be applied to a number of different things over the years. One example would be the lack of expandable storage with the iPhone, which many Android phones have had and some still do have. Another more recent would be the fact that many Android phones offer 90 or 120 Hz fast refreshing screens, the iPhone still is at 60 Hz refresh rate. I think the counter argument to consider here is about product differentiation. An Android phone will not run iOS. It will not work in the Apple ecosystem or give you the other Apple specific benefits that an iPhone can. So if you know you want an iPhone for some specific reason, then it doesn't matter that much what headphones or chargers or super nice variations of those Android are going to offer, because that probably isn't the major factor that makes your decision about purchasing. To me, they are fairly distinct, different products that can do broadly similar jobs. A bit like comparing an acoustic guitar with an electric guitar. They both allow you to play guitar, but they are so distinct from each other, it will be the differences between them that make you decide which one is right for you. Argument 6 again challenges the Apple perspective, because most people do not have USB-C charger plugs. Apple is still including the lightning cable in the box, but now the other end has a USB-C connector like this, rather than a USB-A connector like this. Until last year, the USB-A charging plug is the one that Apple included with almost all of their devices, and I suspect represents close to 99% of all of those 2 billion plugs that consumers already have. This means you potentially have a significant number of people who are getting a charging cable with their phone that they can't plug into anything on day one. Argument number 7 is the Apple counter-argument. While a large number of people probably won't have USB-C chargers, there will be a lot of people who do have lightning cables or wireless chargers already which work with their current iPhone. All of those things will work just fine with the new iPhone 12s. Plus, since Lightning was introduced in 2012, it's been attached to a lot of Apple products, including iPads, keyboards, and mice. So there's a higher chance of households having a spare lightning cable floating around somewhere. So the number of people who would genuinely be completely unable to charge their new phone on day one is probably quite small in reality. Argument 8 is again from the Apple perspective, and that is that you get the benefit of fast charging across all iPhones now. One advantage of having a USB-C to lightning cable is it can carry more current than USB-A connections, which means faster charging. Previously, this was exclusive to the iPhone 11 Pro series, but now it is available for all of the iPhone 12 lineup. If you care about fast charging, you can pick up a USB-C plug for around £10 off Amazon, or you can use existing USB-C connections. Newer iPads and Macs have all had either USB-C plugs or ports available, plus Android and Windows laptops have increasingly moved to USB-C over the last few years. Just before we talk about potentially the biggest argument in this entire debate, thank you for watching the video so far. If you like tech content like this, as well as video and music creation content, then please consider subscribing to the channel for all of that good stuff. If you end up finding this video interesting or you'd like to share a view, then please consider liking the video and dropping your thoughts in a comment. Thank you. Argument number 9. To me, potentially the biggest is the wider industry impact Apple can have with this move. Apple has a significant track record of leadership when it comes to making unpopular but technologically progressive decisions. The removal of the headphone jack in the iPhone 7 was openly mocked by Android competitors until the majority of Android competitors were doing the exact same thing a year or two later. Apple were among the first, if not the first, to remove things which were standard at the time, like DVD drives and before that floppy disk drives from their Mac computers. Once again, competitors ended up doing the exact same thing within a few years. If we look back at the material and the logistics environmental benefits we discussed at the beginning, for every competitor that follows Apple's strategy, those benefits become multiplied by all of the supply chain and unit sales of each of those competitors. So there's a good chance that Apple takes any backlash or negative publicity from this. However, 3 or 4 years down the line, it's absolutely standard, and because everyone else in the industry has followed, the environmental benefits are expanded hugely. Apple even mentioned their hope that competitors will follow their lead on this, so it's an explicit part of their strategy. It also aligns to their commitment to be completely carbon neutral by 2030 and the removal of the charging plug from the Apple Watch refresh, which happened a few months back earlier in 2020. And argument number 10 is Apple is actually potentially helping a few other small businesses. Thanks to the recent Fortnite dispute, I made a video summarizing that, linked above and in the description. Apple has been facing renewed accusations of monopolistic business practice. Well, this move is one which could potentially help small businesses. For those who do want a USB-C charger or wired headphones, they now have to proactively choose the Apple option, whereas previously they would passively receive it in the box. So in these cases, what would have just been the Apple ones in the box for many people become a new customer for the small businesses in these specialist areas. So, conclusions. I can see merits on both sides of the debate, but for me, Apple is right on this one. Personally, I have several spare lightning cables, a couple of USB-C charging plugs, ports on my MacBook, a USB-C hub, a wireless charging pad. So if I were to choose to upgrade to iPhone 12 or later in the future, I'll have no direct issue. However, it is the bigger picture that drives my opinion. If a company on the scale and influence of Apple can make a move like this, and even more so if industry starts to follow, the benefits to the environment can be huge. For me, those benefits far exceed what is probably a very small group of people who need to pay $10 or $20 to get a USB-C charging plug. That said, I can understand and empathize with people who are angry just because of the principle of taking things away from customers. But on balance, I think the benefits to the environment and the whole world that this can have is far bigger. So this time I'm saying, good job, Apple. So what do you think? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, but please be respectful of people who've got different views to you. That's all for today, and a massive thank you for reaching the end of this longer than usual video. If you found it interesting, informative, or enjoyable, then please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing to help me out. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, take it easy.